Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever wondered what happens when a giant global brand tries to set up shop in a country with, let's say, very strong traditions? Well, today we're diving into an amazing story, the tale of Starbucks in Italy. It's a fantastic look at coffee, culture, and business. Let's get right into it. So, here's our plan for today. We're going to start with a global puzzle, then jump into a story from Milan. After that, we'll build up your English toolkit, check what we've learned with a quick quiz, and then, you guessed it, it's your turn. Sound good? Awesome. All right, first up, a global puzzle. It's kind of fascinating when you think about it. Why do some huge, super famous brands have such a hard time when they move to a new country? Let's investigate. So yeah, this is the big question, right? Why would a company that's successful everywhere else struggle in one specific place? You'll see it's not always about having the best product, it's really about understanding people and their way of life. And to really get our heads around this, we're going to look at probably the most famous example out there, Starbucks trying to win over Italy. We're going to do this by listening in on a chat between two friends, Marco and Giulia, right in the heart of Milan. Okay, so let's set the scene. Imagine a beautiful, sunny day in Milan. A local guy, Marco, is showing his friend Giulia from London around the city. They're trying to find a cafe, and suddenly, Giulia points to this huge, beautiful building and asks, "Is that the famous Starbucks Reserve?" Marco nods, and Giulia just looks totally shocked. She says, "Well, I heard that Starbucks had a really hard time opening in Italy. Actually, I thought Italians hated the idea of American coffee." Marco gives a little smile. He tells her it's not really about hate, it's more about tradition. He goes on to explain, for us, coffee is this super quick ritual. You're in and out in less than a minute. But Starbucks, that's like a second living room, a place you can work for hours. Julia totally gets it, and she mentions how everyone in London loves those giant frappuccinos. Marco just kind of shakes his head, saying that for the longest time, no Italian would even call that real coffee. And this right here is the heart of it all. Marco says, for us, coffee is a quick ritual. We walk into a bar, stand at the counter, drink our espresso in 30 seconds, and leave. Plus, it only costs about €1. It's just a completely different way of thinking about coffee. So Julia asks him, so did they just fail then? Not quite, Marco tells her. They had to get smart. They changed their whole strategy. They built these incredible coffee palaces that really respected our architecture. And, younger people do like it for the free Wi-Fi. But most of us, we still go to our little local bars. And Julia says, that makes total sense. It's really about the whole experience, not just getting some caffeine. Marco nods in agreement. For Italians, coffee is a social thing, a connection. It's not just a drink to go. And with that, they decide to skip Starbucks and head to a small, traditional Italian cafe just around the corner. The lesson here is clear. Culture is everything in business. What a great little story, huh? It really paints a picture. Okay, now let's switch gears and build up our English skills. We're going to pull out 4 really useful expressions from that conversation you just heard. Okay, first one, well, you hear this all the time in English. It's a classic filler word. We use it when we need a second to think or when we're about to introduce a slightly different opinion. Like if someone says, "This is the best pizza ever," you might say, "Well, it's good, but I've had better." Next up is actually. This word is so useful. You use it to gently correct something or to give more specific information. Think of it as meaning in fact. Now, a really common mistake is thinking actually means currently or right now, but it's all about correcting or clarifying. And how about this one? No worries. I love this expression. It's just a really friendly, relaxed way to say it's okay or you're welcome or don't mention it. It just makes your conversation feel so much more casual and easygoing. And our last one is anyway. This is like your secret tool for managing a conversation. If you get sidetracked and start talking about something else, you can just say, anyway, to bring everyone back to the main topic. Super simple, but super effective. Okay, so you've heard the story, you've learned a few new phrases. I think it's time for a little quiz to see how much you remember. Don't worry, it's a fun one. Ready? Question number 1. According to Marco, how do Italians normally drink their coffee? Think back to that ritual he described. And the answer is, they drink it really quickly while standing at the counter in a bar. Yep, it's a quick, in-and-out social moment in their day. All right, question 2. What was Julia's first thought about Italians and Starbucks?
What was her original assumption?
The answer is, she thought that Italians absolutely hated the whole idea of American coffee, a very common misconception, as we learned.
And the last question for you. Why do some of the younger Italians enjoy going to Starbucks these days? What was the big draw for them?
And the final answer is, they like it for the different atmosphere, and of course, the free Wi-Fi. It just offers an experience they can't really get at a traditional bar. Fantastic job, you guys. You guys did great. So what this story about Starbucks in Italy really shows us is that launching a business in a new place is so much more than just selling a product. You absolutely have to understand and respect the local culture. It's about finding a way to belong, not just to be different. So the main takeaway here is a new lens to view the world with. And that brings us to your task. I want you to think about your own country for a minute. Can you think of a big international brand that had a really hard time getting started there? Why do you think that was? Give it some thought. It's a great way to practice what we've talked about. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep practicing, keep being curious, and I can't wait to see you next time.